I have a feeling we're starting with a demonstration of Austin James' latest invention. A lightning machine. He's into controlling weather now. No, this is your average Arizona monsoon season thunderstorm. But that house seems to be a magnet for the lightning.
It stinks! I don't like it, and I'm not going to type it. And I'm taking the manuscript.
Who's he talking to?
So what? That's your problem. When you're ready to write something that isn't a lot of drippy nonsense of it. You've done that for the last time.
He's talking to the lightning, and it just threw his typewriter across the room. Things are getting weird even for this show. And why is he wearing a blindfold?
I'm standing up, and I'm taking off this damn blindfold so I can see you.
He's wearing a blindfold because the lightning told him to?
What are you doing?
I guess it didn't like him taking the blindfold off. He leaves a phone message for Austin James to get there as quickly as possible, so Austin and Mickey drive all day and arrive at his house. His name is Truman Smith, and he's a novelist.
Austin, there's a pile of sand.
Indoor beach.
A pile of sand doesn't even scratch the surface of this episode's weirdness.
Well, Mr. James, here you are. We're just about giving you up. I'm Pitch, Truman's wife. You sit over here, next to me.
Good thing she's not obvious. Then again, she's his fifth wife, so who knows what their marriage is like. Austin says, "Will someone tell me what is going on here?" She says, "Truman will be in shortly, and he's got a wonderful story to tell you."
It isn't a story. What are you all standing up for? Sit down. Helga, where's my dinner?
He's also a selfish, obnoxious jerk. You might need to know that.
I have encountered an intelligent being from another world. He lives out in the desert. His spaceship crashed somewhere in Montana. He's dangerous. He's highly charged with electromagnetic energy. He's got quadraphonic hearing, radar eyes. He's probably psychic, too.
This alien is responsible for the sand piles and all the other oddness. He says the alien calls himself Pretzel 14, and that's Austin's cue to leave. Truman says, "Please stay. I want your help to trap him, and I can prove he exists."
He talks to me in Jack Benny's voice.
Sorry, Mr. Smith, it's not a criterion for launching a scientific investigation. Come on, Mickey.
He says, "And last night he tried to kill me. I don't know why. I think he's gone mad. I think someone's lost their marbles all right, but I don't think it's Pretzel." Mickey wants to stay and investigate, and she and Austin are having a genuine argument about it.
He needs the name of a good drink.
At least he's not afraid of showing it.
I can give him a dozen.
However brief. They run back inside and check it out. Hello, Pretzel. This thing now has Austin's attention. He's not going anywhere until he figures this out.
Whatever it is you're holding back, I want to hear it now. Why is an alien from outer space trying to kill you?
Truman, for God's sake, tell him.
Let's play a game. What do you imagine might be the last thing Austin expects to hear next?
The books! The novels! I didn't write a word of any of them. They were pretzels. He told them to me. I just wore a blindfold and typed what he told me.
I believe we have a winner. He's written over 400 novels. He's the most prolific science fiction writer ever. And he essentially did nothing but take dictation from an alien who's a better writer than he is. That's what he's telling us. And now the alien has gone bonkers and is trying to kill him. He demands that Austin help him trap Pretzel. With what and then do what? I guess Austin's supposed to figure out that part.
It was lightning. It struck the apex of the house, it came down the hallway, into the dining room, hit the table, burst into flames, and the fire broke the window. Let's go.
You're wrong.
What?
You're wrong. We were outside. There wasn't any lightning.
But that's what it was.
It would appear that even the great Austin James has some blind spots when it comes to his scientific skepticism.
You mean it's automatically crazy for aliens to exist? But it's okay for lightning to shoot out of a clear sky, miss a dozen lightning rods, and hit inside the house?
There's a plausible explanation.
We're saying.
Yes, Austin, there's a reasonable explanation, and she's not leaving until you find it. The alien that writes the great American novel is the part that's got me baffled. The best part is, Austin's not going to argue with her. If he did leave, this would be tickling the back of his mind until he couldn't stand it and he had to come back. It's clear that she already knows him as well as he knows himself. It's also clear that he doesn't see her as a secretary or flunky. She's a cohort. Later, she's looking around Truman's office when he comes in with a new typewriter and an attitude.
Typed his rubbish for 25 years. I can finish the book myself. I don't need him.
I guess he'd rather type outside in the sunshine.
Let's see you finish it, you interplanetary, brain-sucking mutoid hack.
Or not. Mickey starts doing what she does, getting to the heart of the matter.
He must be like a brother to you. All those books. You must have got to know each other very well.
He once told me I was the only friend he ever had.
And he's the only friend you have, isn't he? That's not healthy for either of you. Mickey gets an idea about finishing the book.
I could do it. I could put the blindfold on and write the last chapter with the pencil, which is willing. I mean, if he hates you.
Oh, and cut me out of the process altogether.
Oh, no. That's not what I meant at all.
I have to take this away from him.
I repeat, Pretzel isn't the only one who's lost it. He chases her out. Her next move, figure out where Austin is.
What's the matter?
Oh, I thought you were...
Oh, you mean Pretzel?
No, see, I was doing this teleporting experiment, and I didn't know there was a fly in the thing, and I...
Well, shows how little it takes to create a being from another planet.
Okay, so who are you supposed to be?
Somebody who was just under the house.
Good thing he brought all that stuff with him just on a hunch.
Picking ground for a dozen lightning rods. They're good. But the place is filthy.
Austin and Mickey put sensors of various kinds all over the house and wait for dark.
North wing. Farthest room. Hot. Very hot.
Or maybe they won't have to wait. He says it has to be a glitch. He makes her stay there to reset the monitor when he gets it fixed and dashes off to the room. There's something different about you, Pretzel. Give me a second, I'll figure it out.
Sorry, my mistake.
Mr. James, don't go. This is the man I want to see.
She's using a heat lamp, though she'd rather generate some heat with Austin. She starts with asking him to put lotion on her back.
What's that room? The farthest one in the north wing? Mrs. Smith's bedroom. Oh.
Austin is quizzing Tish about Pretzel. She says, he's real. I've had interactions with him.
Why does he want to kill Truman?
He's trapped here. He can never go home again. He has nothing but his stories, and Truman's taken those away from him.
On the contrary, he gave them to the world. Millions of people can hear his stories instead of them being bottled up inside his own head, or whatever he has. What does he want, a cut of the royalties?
If you want to learn something about Pretzel, study loneliness, isolation, jealousy, hunger. Hope I'm not interrupting anything technical.
No.
Just came by to see if you found the glitch. Or did I misunderstand the word you used?
Speaking of jealousy, on the other hand, it's difficult to know if Austin even understood what was going on there. We won't find out. Tish said, "This is convenient," leaned over to kiss Austin, and fell off the bed. Whatever those effects cost was money well spent. That was incredible. My problem is with the editing. It's difficult to see what Austin and Truman are doing. We can see Austin go into the fray to try and get Truman out, but it gets fuzzy from there because of the way we keep cutting around the room and going to faces and all the rest. On my third viewing, I finally sorted out that they moved toward the right of the screen behind one of those big chairs and stayed there until Pretzel decided to enter Sandpile.
Did you see him? That wasn't lightning. It was alive.
My God. You really exist.
That's right, Horatio. There are more things in heaven and earth and so on. Austin says, "Okay, there's only one copy of the manuscript and you're keeping it in the pocket of your robe. That's why you're still alive. He doesn't want to damage the manuscript."
You've got to do something. You've got to help him.
I'd like to. Tell me how.
When I told you in the bedroom, I made it all up. I never believed he existed. Not until now.
She wants out of here. Austin tells Mickey to take her and Helga, the housekeeper, and get out of there.
What about you?
I can't walk out in the greatest scientific discovery of all time. I'm going to see what I can do to make contact.
Then I'm staying too.
Mickey?
You're going to need an awful lot of help.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay, don't argue.
You're not going to win this, Austin. You can fire her and she'll still stay and have your back, like it or not. Truman suddenly says, "I'm going to finish the book with Pretzel. It's his story and I'm trying to take it away from him. This is all my fault, so I'm going to make it right even if it kills me." The lightning starts up again and Tish has had enough. She and Helga leave.
Why, hello there. I thought I'd find you here. I just glad that I couldn't run out on you after all.
There's rain in the mountains. The road has been washed out. Mrs. Smith is drinking.
"Thank you, Helga. We hadn't noticed." She passes out and Austin carries her to bed.
Yeah?
Nice. But it felt married.
I'm surprised he didn't tell her the velocity of her tongue in millimeters per second. The lights go out again and he dashes to the breaker box. Pretzel didn't seem to like that idea. While Mickey tries to revive him, Truman is telling Pretzel, "Let's finish this book face to face. Let me finally see you."
My God, Pretzel! You're absolutely beautiful.
I hope that look was worth it. Pretzel, if you don't want to finish the book together, just say so. You don't have to be so dramatic.
This is what we use as bait.
Why didn't he take it with him after he killed Mr. Smith?
Well, maybe he couldn't. Maybe anything he touches goes up in smoke.
Which means with or without Mr. Smith, some human hand has to help finish it.
Exactly.
He's rigging that chair to be grounded, so if Pretzel sits in it, he'll be sucked straight into the ground. The trick will be getting him to sit in it.
I'll be at the desk, blindfolded, ready to type whatever he wants me to type.
You can't.
Maybe he'll sit in the chair, maybe he won't.
You just said he tried to murder you. What's to stop him from trying again?
Nothing. I got no choice.
Yes, you do. Sure, I'd be typist.
Absolutely not.
He figured out in the pilot episode that he's met his match, but he's still having trouble adjusting to what all that means. Among other things, it means he's never going to win one of those, so he might as well get used to doing it her way. Mickey is flipping through the manuscript while she waits. Austin tells her to go to the last page.
Smith was right. Pretzel is crazy. He was going to kill Truman and then blow up the house.
Since you suspect he's on his way and he's already killed Truman, that only leaves one task. I suggest you be somewhere else when he carries it out.
Helga, what are you doing?
I have to water the plants.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
I must do something. Mr. Smith was so kind to me.
And take the plants with you. The lights go out and Mickey puts on the blindfold. Mickey tries to talk to Pretzel and says, I'm here to help you finish your story. Please talk to me. I don't care if you use Jack Benny's voice or someone else's. I'm ready and waiting. Nothing. Finally, she says, I'm taking off the blindfold. About the time she does, everything calms down and the lights come back on. He's gone. Austin breaks in and Mickey takes a look at the paper she put in the typewriter. It wasn't blank.
Alien Lightning Rod Company, Belleville, Illinois. In regards to your theory that your house rests on a 1,000-ton deposit of pure iron, this is nothing.
Iron. Iron? We find no geological precedent for such a formation. Our physics advisor, however, warns us that a lightning rod grounded in such a formation could result in a high-density plasma being conducted in the house, resulting in fire and other personal hazards.
Austin just figured out what Pretzel is.
High-density plasma. Ball lightning.
Ball lightning.
It's the weirdest stuff in nature. You can't predict what it's going to do. Pretzel. The iron deposit under the house. It's a big dumb storage battery. It's been shooting ball lightning through the house.
Pretzel!
He doesn't exist.
Well, then who have I been talking to for 5 minutes?
Nobody. Yourself.
More precisely, she was talking to a bit of ball lightning that was triggered by all that stuff he said. Then who was talking to Truman in Jack Benny's voice and making him wear a blindfold and all the rest?
I thought it was some wacko from outer space. Truman suckered me. This hand piles of lightning rods, Pretzel. They're all just parts of his sick imagination.
Austin. The Truman who'd gone mad, not Pretzel.
Yep, it all came out of his own damaged mind. But his death was very real, and Austin has not only determined it was murder, he's figured out who did it.
The murder weapon was hanging in the garage. Ordinary household current killed Truman, not lightning and not an alien from outer space. It's one of you.
Suddenly, he asks Helga to water the plants. It doesn't make sense, but she's not in a mood to argue. The weapon he's talking about? Truman's sunglasses.
The murderess doesn't know it. But when she killed Truman, she took a photograph of herself. The light source was the electric cord when it touched the side of Truman's head. The film, polarized sunglasses. The image is pretty dim. It's going to take a sizable light source, so probably a lightning bolt to project it on the wall so we can see it. That's why I've invited Pretzel.
He says, Tish, you murdered him. She says, why would I do that?
You wouldn't finish your book.
My book?
The phones are working again. I called Truman's publisher. His 4 ex-wives each got 100 novels as alimony. That left you with one. This one. His masterpiece. You stayed in the house because you were waiting for Truman to finish it, so you could get custody of it in the divorce you were planning. But when you realized Truman was never going to finish it, you decided to get hold of it by killing him.
A ghost writer could easily finish the last chapter. It would have the Truman Smith name on it, and the fact that he was murdered while writing it would only boost its value. Before they can get much further, the lights go out. Pretzel is coming. I like how we got close-ups of all 3 women just so we could be sure which one was in the image. And it's amazing how much that image looked like a basic portrait. Maybe that's because it was.
I found the slide of Tish while I was snooping around. Didn't mean you flashed her face on the wall, not pretzel. It's all theatrics to get her to confess.
Tish admitted killing him because he was crazy. Institution, divorce. But as Austin pointed out, it wasn't about him being crazy. It was about him being crazy and leaving her with nothing. His torment didn't matter. What mattered was her having money.
What you doing?
Looking for Pretzel's ignition switch.
Huh?
I started thinking. Why did the lightning come out of the ground and into the house? And it occurred to me. Every time it made an appearance, Helga had just finished watering the plants.
Right.
And instead of pouring the leftover water down the sink like most people, she would pour it down that hole he was looking at. Or maybe one of the plants consistently overflowed. However it happened, water down that hole is the key.
But Truman built the house on the site of an ancient meteorite impact. Shock lines in the rock showed it. There was enough nickel iron to hold a powerful electric charge. One housekeeper pouring 1 cup of water down a hole was enough to set it off.
The place has been condemned. Because of how and where it's built, this will continue to happen and someone else will get hurt. So bye-bye house. The case is wrapped up and it's time to go.
Come on, Harvey. What's said? Your head.
He knows there are no aliens, but he has his own puka. The alien talking to Truman in Jack Benny's voice was in his own head. Truman was an undiagnosed schizophrenic. I've talked to a lot of people with that illness, and it's scary. I can understand how someone like him, who has no idea there's a mental illness out there that causes voices, would mistake the voice for an alien dictating his books. And the ball lightning just reinforced the whole idea. The blindfold and all the rest came from his own fractured mind. I can't help but pity him. I also did some reading up on ball lightning. It's a real thing, although until the 60s, most scientists didn't believe it existed. Now they're trying to duplicate it in laboratories to try and figure out what it is and how it works. When Austin called it the weirdest stuff in the world, he wasn't exaggerating. So what is it? Well, as of this filming, there are at least 12 different theories from reputable scientists, and that doesn't count the crackpots, of which there are many. The plasma theory that Austin mentioned is one of the 12, and it works for this episode. I have to admit, as far as the science of this episode, the writers did their homework and it's as accurate as such a story can be. The problem is that too much of the science is over most people's heads. Plasma, ball lightning. The first time I watched this, I had heard of ball lightning but knew nothing about it, and Austin's explanation went right past me. I have a feeling that's part of the reason the show failed. We do that a lot. We didn't go into explaining Truman's voices at all. Austin just said it came out of his sick imagination. That's not enough. You gave us the science about the alien, now give us more science about the human. The pacing is also a bit of a problem because when the big stuff comes, it comes all at once and the visuals get a little confusing and overwhelming. I'm a nut for deep science like this, so it didn't bother me, but I'm far from your average TV viewer. Truman could have saved himself a lot of grief if he had realized one thing. Pretzel 14 is just a puka word for ball lightning.